Hello students, I hope you all are good. I hope your studies are going well. So let us continue with our next topic. Okay, that is the generations in the networks. So previously we have completed the topic that is the networking device. Okay, so we are going to study up with the 5 different networks in the mobile networks. Currently we are in the 4th generation. I hope you know that we are in 4G. So 5G is yet to be implemented. Okay, maybe in our future days we are going to experience the 5th generation of the mobile networks. Now let us discuss the first generation. Okay, so this first generation, before the first generation mobile phones which are here, you look in this slide. So these are the mobile phones which were in the first generation. So before to this first generation, we have the radio telephone system which were not at all reliable in the connectivity. That means the all radio based telephones were there in the earlier days, and they were all using the copper cables, because the copper cables maintenance and its cost is very high, and they were cables were susceptible for the weather condition to the some extent. That is why we have migrated from that radio telephone system to the new generations of the telephone system. And a very one important question from this topic, what had previous examinations had come, was what does G refers to in the networking? G actually refers to the generation in the networking. This is very much important 1 marks question which had appeared in the examination. Okay, now let us start with the first generation. First generation mobiles are to be considered as the first analog cellular systems which was being started in the early, that is 1980s. In the 1980s, actually this first generation mobile phones had come into existence, where they are the analog cellular systems. Analog in the sense they were capable of carrying only the analog signals, and cellular systems means where the networks are wirelessly connected. Okay, by using the analog signals they were wirelessly connected. Hence the first generation first generation mobile networks are considered to be as the analog cellular systems. And these first generations were actually conceived, means adopted, and they were designed purely for the voice calls. Okay, purely for the voice calls. Almost there was no consideration for the data service. Data services means internet service. In the first generation there was no question of internet at all, and these 1G mobile systems were analog transmissions for the speech services. Whatever we are communicating with one user with the another user, obviously our voice signals are analog, but the same analog signals were being carried out throughout the from the source to the destination. There was no conversion at all. Hence they are being considered as the first ever analog cellular systems. And in the first generation there were 3 popular networks which had come into existence. That is, first one was the AMPS, TACS and the NMT. So the AMPS actually stands for the Advanced Mobile Phone System. This is a network in the first generation era. This is the network which had come into existence, that is Advanced Mobile Phone System, which was extensively used in the USA. Okay, and later TACS had come into existence. You can see here, these are the this is actually AMPS mobile phone image, and this is the TACS. TACS actually stands for Total Access Communication Systems, which was extensively used in the European countries. And again, one more different kinds of mobile network had come into existence, that is NMT, Nordic Mobile Telephone. This is how the look of the NMT and the TACS would be. So they were used in the Nordic countries, such as Switzerland, Netherlands, Eastern Europe and Russia. So they were the different kinds of mobile technology that had come into existence in the first generations, are the AMPS, NMT and the TACS. These are, we need not to understand the working, we should just know the abbreviations, what is the NMT stands for and the TACS stands for. So these 3 were the different kinds of networks which had come into existence in the first generation. Then when we had the first generation, what was the use for going for the second generation is the question, right? So there were certain disadvantages in the first generation. Firstly, they were all the analog cellular systems, okay, and there was no consideration for the data service. That means there was no question of having the internet at all. And one more major problem was they were unable to interoperate between the countries. Suppose for an example, two different countries wants to communicate with each other, like USA and the European countries wants to have the communication. USA is using a different network, different mobile technology it is using, and European countries are using different technology. They are completely two different networks to have to communicate with each other. If so, there should be something, protocol should be there which are common in nature, and there should be certain data formats which are common in both the networks. So then only the communication will happen, isn't it? If they are uncompatible with each other, so no communication would take place. That is why these three different mobile cellular networks failed in order to have the interoperate communications between the different countries. Okay, and one more other disadvantages were where data speed was only up to 2.4 kilobits per second, which is very less. 2.4 kilobits per second data transmission, and it supported only for the voice call, and poor voice quality was there. Since it has first generation, obviously the voice quality was very low, and it had a very less battery life also, and no security was being performed, like no encoding and decoding. Suppose if two persons are having communication, easily the other person would come to know what they're actually having the conversation, like that. So no encoding, no decoding process was given. So this were all about the disadvantages of the first generation. That is the reason we had moved on to the second generation second generation cellular networks. So in second generation mobile phone networks, so the prominent networks which had come into existence was a GSM and the CDMA. At least now you can able to understand what TAX, NMT and AX, they are all the different kinds of network. We have studied how exactly the GSM network works, we have studied how CDMA networks work. So same way, certain features were there in the NMT and the AMS which had come into first generation. So GSM actually stands for Global System for Mobile Communication. CDMA1 is a basic network. In that, the next version had come CDMA1, that is Code Division Multiple Access 1, and DAMS, that is a Digital Advanced Mobile Telephone Systems, had come into existence. Okay, now this 2G actually refers to the second generation of mobile telephony, which has used the digital signals for the first ever time in order to have the voice communication. Before first generation were using the analog data they were using, but this second generation was the first ever generation that was using the digital signals in order to have the voice communication. That was the major advantage of second generation. That is why already AMS had come into first generation. It was been revised and modified and enhanced version. DAMS had come into existence, which stands for Digital Advanced Mobile Phone. Then what were the characteristics of 2GR? They are the first ever digital cellular system which was launched in 1990s. Okay, almost 10 years. In terms of 1990s, it had come into existence in Finland actually. Okay, it had an improved sound quality comparatively to the first generation because it was using the digital signals, and it had a better security comparatively to the 1G because in second generation encoding and decoding had come into existence because of the GSM and the CDMA networks. So obviously I have already discussed about the GSM. Encoding takes place and decoding takes place at the GSM as well as the CDMA, right? So better security was provided because of that technique, and then higher total capacity was there. Bandwidth capacity was very high. That was because GSM, we know it operates around 900 to 1800 megahertz. That means the bandwidth of sending frequency is very high. Hence the data transfer speed was very much high. That is almost about 64 kilobits per second data transmission was there. So first generation supported only about 2.4 kilobits per second. From there to 64 kilobits per second means it's a drastic change in the second generation. You can see these are the different handsets, mobile handsets which had come into existence in the second generation. So this is what is digital DAMS. This is how the mobile phones look out well. And mainly here in second generation, GSM was widely popularly used network, because it was capable of connecting the different countries. Because see, suppose for example a person who is there in different country, if he is visiting India, he can take his own handsets and come to India, and after coming to India, just he need to change the SIM card, which is that SIM card which is supported in India. So if it is so, then if he was using the GSM network, then he can easily get into the new operator. That was not at all a difficult one. That is why the GSM was very much popular, whereas CDMA, where they were the SIM locked. If they want to communicate with the different from one country to another country, if they are coming down, okay, if they carry the same mobile phone, that mobile phone may not work in India because that is a SIM locked. That SIM is not supported in India. That is the reason why GSM had actually popular network comparatively to the CDMA in the second generation. And this GSM was actually working upon the circuit switch data, that is the CSD, circuit switch data, that allows you to place the calls digitally, okay, which will where the switching station was actually receiving the zeros and one rather than having the analog signals. That means GSM was completely working based upon CSD, that is circuit switching. What exactly the CSD circuit switching technique is? Before you transmit the data, voice signals, a physical connection should be established between the source telephone and the destination telephone. Once the connection is made, then only your voice signals will be transmitted to the switching center. Switching center will actually receive, this time is the digital signals rather than the analog signals. Once the physical connection is established, then the phone call were able to connect from one end to the another one. This CST switching circuit switching technique I have already explained. So if in reference, you can watch that video once again. Fine. So this is all about the second generation. But what was the disadvantages in second generation? So we migrated to the next within second generation, the higher version, we migrated to the 2.5 generation, that is 2.5 G generation. So in these 2G, there was unable to have any kind of videos. Okay, we didn't had any option of videos, we didn't had any option of text messages also. Okay, so that was the disadvantage. Only voice communication it also supported, where the signals were in the form of digital. Next came into existence, that is the 2.5G networks, that is the mainly network is GPRS, which we have recently discussed about the GPRS. So then the higher version of the CDMA, that was CDMA 2001X, had come into existence. This GPRS actually stands for General Packet Radio Service. It's a kind of wireless communication that would help you to connect to the internet. Okay, see, this is all about the wireless communication that helps you to connect to internet, send emails, upload, download and all. Because of this GPRS networks, this 2.5 generation had come into existence with a higher data speed, almost 144 kilobits per second. 144 kilobits. Previously it was first G 2.4, next we came to 64. Then in second generation only they did a modification. Okay, and then data rates were up to 144 kilobits per second. Here, the GPRS and the CDMA 2001X, they are the enhanced version of the second generation networks, where it was supporting around 144 kilobits per second data. Okay, because of this GPRS, we have the facility known as always on data service. What is this always on data service, or you can also call it as always on, always connected? This part I have already explained. That means you are paying the amount only for the whenever you have an uploading or downloading from the internet. You are not paying the amount to keep your internet on in your mobile phones. Have you experienced this part? So if whole day if you are not using the internet but your internet connection is on, you see the usage of you can go to the particular app and you check the usage of your internet connection. It will be hardly nil. You are not paying for getting connected to the internet. Only if you are surfing your internet, okay, you are browsing, or whenever you are downloading or uploading, watching any videos on the certain applications, only when you are using the internet, then you are making the payment. That technique had actually come into GPRS, and the main advantage of GPRS is it actually supported for the SMS. 2.5 generation supported for the SMS, that is for the text messages. It supported multimedia messages. It supported mainly for the MMS pictures, okay, and offered the better quality and capacity. Okay, almost like smileys, emojis, actually they had all come into existence because of this GPRS network. So this is all about the GPRS. Let us move on to the next generation, that is 3G. 3G actually stands for third generation. In this third generation, actually smartphones have come into existence. You can see here. So in this also, they were not smartphones at all, only hardly text messages or MMS you could send with through these mobile phones. But if you observe this, 3G actually made a drastic change in the mobile communication technology by having smartphones here. So this UMTS, FDD and TD actually stands for Universal Mobile Telecommunication System. FDD stands for frequency division duplex and TDD stands for time division duplex. And again, CDMA 2001X EVDO, that means the previous 2.5 whatever, only this much version we had, with an enhanced version, but that is EVDO stands for evolution data optimized. And again, CDMA 2003X had come into existence. Again, TD, that is time division synchronous code division multiple access. Okay, and then edge, enhanced data rates for global evolution. All these different kinds of networks have come into existence in the 3G. So this 3G provided most important benefit in this 3G is it is providing data rates up to 384 kilobits per second. Comparatively to all your previous generation, the data speed here is very, very high. Okay, so these are the new cellular networks that had come into existence in the 3G. The United Nations IMT. Now actually before till 2.5G it was fine. Later an evolution came into existence in the 3G by an organization known as United Nations IMT 2000, that is International Mobile Telecommunication 2000. It is actually a standard. It is an organization standard that provided the specifications how the 3G should be. What are the different things that the third generation mobile network should have? That is the organization which kept its specification. Okay, so and it also promised that when the 3G will come into existence, that provides you the data rates up to almost 2 megabits per second to 384 kilobits per second for the true 3G. That means a very high. So previously 2.4, then 64, then we had almost 144 kilobits per second. Now we are almost experiencing of 384 kilobits per second, which is a double, more than double of the previous. Leave about 384, it's almost 2 megabits per second. It's a very high speed data transmission. So that was actually provided in the third generation. Now 3G actually is specification for third generation of mobile communication technology, and this 3G promises for having an increased bandwidth speed of 384 kilobits per second when the device is stationary or moving at a pedestrian speed. That means if a person is walking on the pedestrian speed, okay, if he is walking on the streets, then what is the data rate it has to receive is almost 384 kilobits per second. You can see here. Now this is a 3G cell site. That means it's an antenna, which is nothing but the base station or the transceiver we can call. What is this transceiver? See, you can see one side it is having the capable of receiving, and the other one it is having the capable of transmitting. That's why base stations are called as transceivers also. Okay, so if a person is moving at a pedestrian speed, okay, then or if he is on the outside, then he can experience almost of 384 kilobits per second data transmission speed. And if he is moving in a car, then he can experience almost 128 kilobits per second data transmission speed. You may ask why it is less when we are moving onto the car, because you may experience that whenever you are moving in some vehicle out of your city, you may experience very less internet experience, or your signal you can see, okay, instead of 4 signals strands, you may experience only 2 strands or 1 strand. Why? Because you will be moving away from the antenna coverage. Okay, you will be moving away from your antenna coverage. That is the reason why the data speed whenever you are moving in car, it is less. As in move you are completely out of this antenna coverage, you may not experience any kind of mobile network at all. As in when you are entering the new city at the initial stage, again your mobile will start experiencing some internet experience, or some mobile network you may experience. Then you may start receiving the signals, network signals you may receiving. Why it is? Because as you're moving outside the network, you will experience very less data. That's why whenever you're moving in the car, it is promising around 128 kilobits per second. And at the pedestrian speeds means you are moving, right? You're moving, you're not at the station, you're not at the fixed point, so you're moving continuously. You may be into the antenna range or you may be out of antenna range, so that's why it's promising around 384 kilobits per second. But observe here, so here in case of the fixed application, 3G networks was providing you the data speed up to 2 megabits per second, which is the highest data speed here. So fixed applications in the sense like home and offices. So usually in homes and offices we have the Wi-Fi facility, broadband connection by using the modem and all. You are experiencing a good internet services at home comparatively with your mobile internet. If you are recharging with mobile internet, compare that internet services and compare the broadband internet services. It's very high. The internet at your home is very speed, right? That's because of 2 megabits per second. Okay, so we'll see one of the network, that is UMTS, that is Universal Mobile Telecommunication System. That actually this was a broadband connection which was being provided by the 3G, which was completely working based upon the packet switching technology. Okay, in 3G almost all the networks were supporting for packet switching, where they were all supporting for the text messages, digitized voice, it was supporting for videos, multimedia, right? And it was also supporting for 3D gaming with and it was also supporting for web browsing and surfing with the high speed data transfer rate, and it was also supporting for the emails, okay, video conferencing. Because of the high data speed, almost about 2 megabits per second in case of fixed application, we have a easy transfer of audio and video files over the internet which we are using at home. So this was all about the 3G. So we'll discuss about the 4G network and the 5G networks in the next video. Till that, take care.